It's Thursday, May 5th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and we have the latest Connecticut news for you today, including a look at the front pages of our HAN newspapers this week. Rob Adams will have a sports update and a look at the forecast, while Donald Ang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, Connecticut State Police seized 300 bags of heroin yesterday from what is often referred to as the quiet corner of the state. On May 4th at about 8 in the evening, troopers from Troop D in Danielson, Connecticut were conducting a narcotics investigation on Route 6 in Brooklyn. Troopers observed a Volkswagen Passat traveling on Route 6 when it pulled into the Brooklyn market and came to a stop. Troopers continued to observe the vehicle as they witnessed what appeared to be drug activity occurring within and around the car. Troopers then approached the vehicle and interviewed the two occupants, and during a search, the passenger, Nicole Vondek, stated that she was carrying 300 bags of heroin concealed on her body. She turned the 300 bags of heroin over to troopers, at which time she was taken into custody. Vondek was transported to Troop D, where she was processed and released on a bond pending her court date. And Darien police captured two suspects who were allegedly stealing from unlocked cars yesterday. A juvenile and a 19-year-old Stamford man were arrested after Darien police were called to the scene at Intervale Road around 5:30 Wednesday morning. Sergeant Jeremiah Marin said police were called after the neighbor witnessed two individuals enter another neighbor's unlocked car and rummage through it. The neighbor confronted the two individuals, who then left the area. Numerous officers responded to the scene, and two of those officers found the first subject, a juvenile, on Devon Road. The juvenile intentionally gave information to the officers to misdirect them from the additional subject. Shortly after, a Darien officer on foot located the second suspect, who matched the provided description and made contact with him. That suspect, 19-year-old Karen McCullum of Stamford, tried to run and was tackled and eventually tased by a Darien officer after a struggle ensued. Ultimately, police discovered 10 cars in that neighborhood that had been subject to burglaries overnight into the morning. The monetary value of the thefts exceeded $2,000. Both the juvenile and McCollum were charged with 10 counts of third-degree burglary, 10 counts of conspiracy to commit burglary, and 1 count of third-degree larceny. You can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. And a high-speed chase on Interstate 95 ended with 2 people in police custody after their vehicle crashed into another at Exit 2 in Greenwich early Wednesday afternoon. According to the Hartford Courant, state troopers found about 13 ounces of cocaine after chasing a pair of men from North Carolina Wednesday down I-95 southbound. 2 troopers were on the highway near Exit 10 in Darien at about 12:45 when they saw a Chevrolet Sonic traveling unreasonably close to other vehicles in a construction zone. They went to stop the vehicle when it took off, and the vehicle, which had a North Carolina license plate, then got off Exit 2 in Greenwich but crashed. The driver, 26-year-old Antonio Freeland, and passenger, 41-year-old Michael Lundy, were taken into custody. While investigating, the troopers reported to find 370 grams of cocaine. The accident, which was reported around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, backed up traffic for about 3 miles, and Greenwich police also helped with the accident scene. A man pretending to be from the water company and another suspect are being caught in connection with what police call a distraction burglary that took place Wednesday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon at a home in the area of Orange Avenue and Pullman Drive. Milford police said a suspect gained entry into the residence by telling the homeowner that he was from the water company, and once inside the home, he requested that the homeowner show him a specific area of the house and asked the homeowner to turn the washing machine on to check the water color, claiming that natural gas had mixed into the water system. The man eventually exited the home through the basement, and the homeowner noticed another male inside as he and the suspect were exiting. He confronted the male, at which point both left the residence on foot southbound on Orange Avenue. The suspects are described as white males in their 30s, wearing blue jeans, one wearing a jacket with a lanyard, possibly a fake water company ID, and a mustache. It is unknown at this time if any valuables were taken from inside the residence, but anyone with information regarding the incident is urged to contact Milford Police at 203 878-6551. And Connecticut lawmakers failed to pass a budget on Wednesday night and will go into a special session next week. According to the Connecticut Mirror, House Democrats announced at 5:30 yesterday that they had given up on beating the midnight deadline. About 90 minutes later, Senate Democrats announced their chamber would also vote on the budget in a special session next week. By the end of the night, both chambers voted to return in special session. The Senate will go back on May 12th and the House on a date to be announced. Senate President Pro Tem Martin Looney told reporters that there wasn't enough time for the budget bill to be printed, distributed to members, and debated in any fast or adequate fashion to justify passage before the midnight deadline. When lawmakers return to the state capitol next week, they will debate the more than $18 billion spending package. Republicans criticized Democrats early Wednesday afternoon, complaining that the budget had been crafted in secret, and leaders said they would not accept a rushed budget. And the DEP Encon police, with the help of their trained canine, busted 3 fishermen for poaching. At about 6 o'clock in the evening on May 3rd, officers acting on a complaint located 3 men, finding them in possession of 6 striped bass measuring between 13 and 26 inches. Officers seized the 6 undersized fish, and the individuals were cited for possession of bass in excess of the daily creel limit, as well as possession of undersized striped bass. Additionally, one of the individuals was cited for fishing without a license. Canine Ruger checked the area to ensure that no other fish had been hidden. But we're going to throw it over to Rob Adams now for a look at the forecast, which hasn't changed much in the past week. Rob?
Has not changed at all. What was the weather like 2 years ago today?
I don't know. I actually think it was a beautiful day.
Was it?
I think so.
2 years ago was a different world than where we are today, but maybe Kate and I will explain why we're bringing that up a little later in the broadcast. We have a slight chance of rain today. Very light rain. This is our best day of the week. Cloudy and a high near 53 with the wind out of the north from 11 to 13 miles per hour. Tonight, a chance of rain, cloudy with a low around 46. Tomorrow, chance of rain before noon, and then it's just supposed to get really nasty in the afternoon. Chance of rain, thunderstorms, rain likely, thunderstorms all throughout the day, cloudy and 56 for the high. Looking like we're going to get quite a bit of rain as that day goes along. Friday night, again, more showers, mostly cloudy, and a low of 49. Saturday, chance of showers again, mostly cloudy and 62. To Saturday night, chance of showers after midnight, mostly cloudy and 50. Sunday, chance of showers for Mom, partly sunny and a high near 63. 65 and sunny on Monday, 68 and sunny on Tuesday. Around the region, we have Darien at 52, Weston at 52, and here in Shelton, 51 degrees. Kate, you want to give away why we're talking about 2 years ago?
Well, we could do it on this day in history. Well,
you know, why not? Let's save it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
We'll do that.
We'll save it for that. Sounds good. Back to you, Kate.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. We have a Nutmeg Sports update and some more news coming up after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.25% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
And we're back on this Thursday edition of your coffee break, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, we're going to start off way back, May 5th, 1260. Kublai Khan defeats his brother and becomes ruler of the Mongol Empire. Over the next 40 years, he would expand it to the largest land empire in history, comprising 1/5 of the world's landmass. To 1862, what day is it? Cinco de Mayo. Troops led by Ignacio Zaragoza halt a French invasion in the Battle of Puebla. The battle has virtually no historic significance. It merely postponed the inevitable French victory for a few weeks. The day has been celebrated in California since the 1950s, but its current popularity dates back to the 1980s. Ironically, the Mexicans have adopted the tradition of Cinco de Mayo celebrations from the Americans. 1904. Pitching against the Philadelphia Athletics at the old Huntington Avenue grounds, Cy Young of the Boston Americans. That was the first perfect game in the modern era of baseball. If you like home runs, you wouldn't have liked the Huntington Avenue grounds. The left field power alley was 440 feet dead center. 530 feet later moved back to a whopping 635 feet from home plate. 1961, Mercury Redstone 3 launches, and Alan Shepard becomes the first American to travel into space on a suborbital flight. And finally, we go to 1934 for this.
Oh, I'm in trouble, a lot of trouble. I really don't know what to do. Can I get some help from you?
Tell me, is it really serious?
You'll never know how serious.
Let me help her, she's delirious. Look, she's gonna faint. Oh, no, she ain't.
Oh, I can't bear it. I can't go on. Won't someone help me to my room, or I'll go right to my doom.
Well, little girl, if that's the case, I'll go with you almost any place.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Toots.
Thank you.
I'm just smiling here because it's absolutely typical of Three Stooges shorts. The four men in the studio are laughing. The woman with this kind of what's going on look on her face. That was Woman Haters, the first Three Stooges short film released from Columbia Pictures. There would be 189 more over the next 23 years. These Stooges, first seen on film on this day, 1934. That is a look back in history, and I'm Donald Eng.
Well, Donald Eng, on this day in history in 2014, the first episode of Coffee Break as an online news show started.
I remember the day.
Yes, that's right. So just a little history there, obviously. At the time, it aired at 10 a.m. You were our traffic and weather reporter. Of course, right. Rob Adams was a huge part of the show when we were
Rob
HAN
Adams
Radio.
on the board.
And things have changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, that certainly have. That certainly have. We have lights in here now. We can see outside.
Video, you can see us. I used to be able to hide and nobody could see me.
Yes, we haven't actually danced our way into the opening music in about a year or so.
Right.
Things have changed.
Yes. All right, Don. Well, thanks so much. Getting back to a little more news today. A Bridgeport woman was arrested May 4th after allegedly biting a staff member at a Milford hotel. Police said they were called to 1052 Boston Post Road at May 4th around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a report of an unwanted person. An investigation led to the arrest of Shavons Anderson, 24 of Bridgeport, who was accused of biting a hotel staff member and hitting and pulling the hair of another staff member after she was asked to leave the hotel. Anderson was charged with assault, breach of peace, and criminal trespass. She was released from police custody on a promise to appear in court May 31st. Well, we're going to throw it back to Rob Adams now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. He was, of course, a huge part of Coffee Break in the early days, and still is.
And still right here, and away we go. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Thanks, Kate, and happy anniversary to the crew around here. Nutmeg Sports wasn't far behind with their first edition as well. The St. Joseph Cadets got another outstanding pitching performance from Nicole Williams as they visited the Ridgefield Tigers yesterday. Let's check out the highlights. From the new softball field at Ridgefield High School on a less than ideal day, it's high school softball on the HAN Network. And you can say Here, Nicole, here's the ball. Go to the mound. Do your thing. The 2-2. Bounce back behind the plate. That's thrown down to first. They throw to home. Not in time. So they get the out at first. It becomes a strikeout 2-3. It's kind of a funky scoring thing. So the second out there, the right-handed hitter against the righty brings it home, and she tattoos it to left field. That will go well over the head of Shofi. She rounds second. On her horse and rounding third is Erica Williams to third. She'll round it. She's going to walk home with a 2-run homer. It's a 3-0 game.
What a shot.
Westington brings it home. Rolled down to third. Grab there. The toss to the plate. Safe, and everybody's safe. Bike on. Scoring. Hutchison. 5-0 St. Joseph. Space to put anyone. A fly ball to center. It's going to be a long run. Fujitani, and a diving catch from right by Nadell. It'll serve as a sacrifice fly, but what a play by the right fielder who went all out for it, 2 away. And the pitch. Soft line drive that's going to fall in for a base hit. 2 runs are going to try to score, and they will. The throw down to second, and safe there is Hillman. It's exploded for St. Joseph, 8-0. Fouls it back again, and boy, that caused some trouble here in an 11-0 ball game. She swings, grounded to third, Holden fires across, and the ball game is over. Another outstanding performance by Nicole Williams, and this one in the books. Well, no cameras hopefully were harmed in the filming of that broadcast. Williams was brilliant, spinning a complete game 2-hitter. The Cadets throttled the Tigers 11-0. Williams struck out 13, didn't walk anyone, allowing a first-inning triple and a seventh-inning single by Kendall Rogoff. At the plate, the senior homered and tripled, driving in 2. The Cadets are 12-1 now, 10-0 in the FCIAC. Kaylee Westington struck out 11 as the Tigers dropped to 9-5, 6-4. Elsewhere on the schedule from yesterday, it was Danbury doubling up Trinity Catholic 12-6, Greenwich 9, Central 7, and Ward over Stamford 7-1. One baseball score, Ward beat Stamford 3-1. Boys lacrosse, Central shut out Wilbur Cross 5-0. From girls tennis, it was Ludlow over Norwalk 6-0. From boys golf, Staples got a win over Ludlow, Ridgefield over both Norwalk and McMahon as they played at Oak Hills. New Canaan beat Wilton at the Country Club of New Canaan. Justin Clark shot a 1/36 for the Rams. They're 9-0 on the year. Danbury beat Ward 165-178, and St. Joseph over Trumbull and Central. From girls golf, Ward got a win over New Canaan and Ludlow at Smith Richardson, and it was Greenwich over Danbury. Lastly, from boys volleyball, Greenwich a 3-1 win over Danbury. Ridgefield shut out Greenwich 3-0. Staples over Trumbull 3-2, and Darien over Fairfield 3-0. A minor league baseball note around the state, the Hartford Yard Goats, the former New Britain Rockettes, will be opening their Connecticut schedule on May 12th, but not at the new Dunkin' Donuts Park in Hartford. The Goats will instead debut in their home state in Norwich at Dodd Stadium. A total of 9 games will be played in the east side of the state, with the first home game at Dunkin' Donuts Park scheduled for May 31st. On the schedule today, intending to play a lot of baseball, Danbury at Trinity Catholic, West Hill at St. Joseph. It'll be Trumbull, home for Central. Darien is at Staples. McMahon is at Norwalk. West Hill at Ludlow. Staples at Darien. That's a good one right there. Greenwich and Trinity Catholic get together. Ward hosting McMahon. Trumbull at Bridgeport Central, Stamford at Wilton, as we kind of combine the softball and baseball schedule. Moving on now to boys lacrosse, it's Trinity Catholic at Stamford, Central home for West Hill. It's Norwalk at Greenwich, Wilton at Ridgefield, Staples at St. Joseph, Ward hosting New Canaan, and Danbury is at Ludlow. Last but not least, St. Anthony's comes up from Huntington, Long Island to take on the Darien Blue Wave. That game is at 4 o'clock and not at the football stadium, not at the lacrosse stadium per se. It is at the DHS Turf Field number 2, which is in the oval outside the front of the school when you first arrive at Darien High School. That is a 4 o'clock start today. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, and I will have the call here on the HAN Network. A couple of girls lacrosse games. It's Danbury at Stamford, West Hill at St. Joseph, Ward home for Wilton, Staples at McMahon, New Canaan at Ludlow, Greenwich at Trumbull, and New Fairfield is at Ridgefield. We also have boys golf and girls golf on the docket, as well as track and field. Another busy Thursday. This is the day, Kate, they will do their best to get as much in as possible, with more rain expected again tomorrow. So with this being such a crazy week, I think they're going to do everything in their power, even through the raindrops, to play today. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you. See you for lacrosse later on.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today, a West Haven man was arrested in Trumbull last week for stealing and selling a coworker's SUV. Police said 48-year-old Dean Federici had agreed to borrow a Lexus SUV from a Trumbull resident who happened to be his coworker back in February. According to a report, the Trumbull man failed to get back his borrowed vehicle by the agreed date, which was February 22nd, and never received any contact from Federici despite making several phone calls. Trumbull police obtained a warrant to search Federici's alleged home in Meriden, but found that he hadn't lived there in years. An investigation eventually led police to the suspect's mother, who showed police a $200 receipt from a Bridgeport pawn shop. The report said that Federici had sold tools that were inside the vehicle and had belonged to the owner. Additionally, the Lexus was discovered to have been pawned for $600, money that was used by Federici to buy drugs, police said. Federici turned himself in on 2 outstanding larceny warrants for his arrests last week. And 2 past favorites will be returning to headline this year's Milford Oyster Festival. Organizers announced on Wednesday that the Blue Oyster Cult and the Marshall Tucker Band will play on the main stage. The Marshall Tucker Band last played the annual summer festival in 2011. The Southern Rock Band also performed at the 2003 Oyster Festival. And Blue Oyster Cult was the headliner in 2004, playing a rain-shortened set. The Rum Runners, one of the area's most popular cover bands, will open the main stage show. And according to organizers, this year's festival will include a new craft beer area at Lisman Landing, the classic car show, children's stage, and more than 200 craft vendors. And Caitlin Roig DeBellis, the teacher who shepherded her 15 first graders into a single student bathroom to keep them from harm when a gunman stormed Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012, will discuss her book, Choosing Hope, Moving Forward from Life's Darkest Hours, on May 9th in Ridgefield's Scotch Ridge Middle School Auditorium at 7 at night. Roig DeBellis feuded with Newtown School Superintendent over safety measures she felt were vital to reassure her traumatized children's safe return to school. When her requests were denied, Roig DeBellis left the classroom and sought solace by founding Classes for Classes, a nonprofit program that matches classes in need with those with resources to spare. But you can get more on her visit to Ridgefield at theridgefieldpress.com. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, John Kovach is going to join me, and we're going to take a look at the front pages of our HAN Network newspapers this week, coming up after this.
I think what makes ONS special is that it has everything that makes academic medicine great. We have the fellowship-trained specialists, but we still bring the style and type of medicine that's indicative of a community practice.
We are all trained in our area of interest and expertise, so our patients see a doctor who specializes in their particular injury.
I did have 2 consults with major New York City hospitals, but I just felt that the care was best here. I was treated like a rock star. The surgery exceeded any expectations that I had.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
We're back on this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky with my former Coffee Break co-host, John Kovach.
Happy anniversary.
Who is now way too busy in the editorial department to be hosting with me every day. But you joined me to take a look at front pages.
Always. And it's where it all ties together here at the HAN Network, where you see that we're print, we're mobile, we're web, and we're video. So what paper are you looking at?
Well, I'm taking a look at the Trumbull Times this week. Nothing new here, but the high school's We the People team, often ranking very high in a national competition at Washington, D.C., and this year they came in 8th, which is very exciting. But they've been doing really well for quite a while. And some more big news for Trumbull High is that Macy's has selected the Golden Eagle Marching Band for their 2017 Thanksgiving Day Parade. So that's very cool.
That is great news. And
very cool news.
Very exciting. They also have the Fiesta Bowl to look forward to. So they've got some traveling to do, and a lot of people are going to become familiar with the great music that you get from the Trumbull High Marching Band.
Yeah, and just I know everyone in Trumbull is very excited when a new restaurant opens up because there hasn't been a lot of options in Trumbull for dining, but there's now Mex on Main, which I've heard has gotten some good reviews so far, so check that out.
In New Canaan, things change and things stay the same. The former Teen Center building, known as the Outback because it's out back behind Town Hall, that has now become town property, the Teen Center not there. Meanwhile, the Silvestro family, which owns a great portion of Cross Street, not far from where the New Canaan Advertiser is headquartered, announced plans to build apartments and commercial space. So you've got things changing there. One thing that always stays the same in New Canaan, the Gridiron Club dinner, which they have done for half a century. Keith Simpson, this year's fall guy, always a lot of fun, and it's one of those traditions that you don't see still around in many communities.
Very cool. All right, well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Wilton Bulletin. Despite some proposed cuts, Wilton's budget remains intact. That's the lead story this week. And also, Wilton planners are going to take a look at what Wilton will look like in 2025. They're looking for some input and discussing, what the future might hold for Wilton development. And perhaps my favorite photo of all time, Brian Hayfully was at Wilton's Go Green Festival, and somebody had dressed their dog up like Prince, which is just amazing. I mean, that is just an incredible, and he looks so regal about it. Like, he's like, yeah, I am Prince right now.
I got it going on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so great.
The dog formerly known as Prince.
Such a great photo from Brian.
It really is an awesome photo. Speaking of great photos, in Darien, one of the events that I've always found to be a lot of fun to photograph was the Tilly Pond Model Boat Regatta. They had that this weekend, some great photos there by Laureen Valenti. As a guy who loves sailboat racing, to see all the kids on the side of the pond, which is right in the middle of downtown Darien, and to see all those boats, it's really a fun day. On a more serious note, former bookkeeper for a veterans charity sentenced to prison for embezzlement, and a nice story about engineering students at Darien High School, and they are helping special needs students get around.
All right, very cool. Well, I am taking a look at the front page of the Shelton Herald, and a big story in Shelton the past couple of weeks has been this proposed zone change that would allow this huge development, 121-acre spot called Shelter Ridge, and nearly 400 residents came out to oppose this plan, and as well as the board chairman Ruth Parkins, who has announced she would challenge fellow Republican Jason Perillo for his state representative seat, is responding to some criticisms that she might have supported this, some feelings there that she had some support for that. So Aaron Berkowitz doing a great job, and a Shelton blood donor honored on the field at Fenway Park for being blood donor of the game. So that's very cool, a nice experience there.
I keep waiting for Eric Gendron to drift over and zoom in on Wally Monster there. But he's being good. I'm really impressed by the discipline being shown over there in the director's chair. Over in Easton, voters approved the 2016-17 budget. The Garden Club is bringing the garden market to the Firehouse Green. That is Saturday, just in time for Mother's Day. And a trivia bee, the 8th annual Easton Learning Foundation Townwide Learning Bee was held.
Cool. All right, well, taking a look at the front page of the Milford Mirror, a good feature story about how a heroin death has led two sisters to fight for change. They're working on that, and that's a lead story in Milford this week, as well as a great event celebrating the life of Marin Sanchez, who was the law student who was murdered by her classmate. But everyone came together for a celebration of her life. And a cool story I'm excited about, the Fire Engine Pizza Company is going to be moving into Milford. They have a location in Black Rock. They used to actually just have a truck that was parked in Black Rock. Then they opened a real location in Black Rock, and now they're going to be opening a second. So now there's a lot of good pizza in Milford. You got Colony there, you're going to have Fire Engine Pizza Company. It's good.
What I love is they're opening in an old firehouse.
I know, it's perfect. Yeah, and the city was trying to get rid of that firehouse. Right. It took them a long time, so it worked out.
Really did work there. In Stratford, discussions continue on the upcoming budget. The hearings were held. Melvin Mason was all over that via Twitter. Does a great job at tweeting what's going on at the hearing as it happens. And of course, there was support for school spending like you always see at those. A AAA fleet center that was proposed in the South End, that was overturned in court, so neighbors won that one. And a number of Stratford residents traveled overseas for the Shakespeare commemoration, the Stratfords of the World gathering. They do it every year. Really wonder when Stratford, Connecticut is going to embrace the Shakespeare brand in some way, because that theater's been there for so long. And here you have 34 residents who went to England for the biennial Stratfords of the World gathering.
All right, John. Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Monroe Courier. Obviously, a big story this week was a huge fire that occurred in a house that was under construction, so nobody was in it and no one was hurt, but most of the house destroyed there, but thankfully it was unoccupied. As well as a local student heading to Broadway, 13-year-old Katie Zimmer, very exciting. She's going to be appearing in Matilda the Musical, which is based on a book by Roald Dahl. Oh, I didn't realize that's Jake Zimmer's sister. I did not know that, but that's a very cool feature story there.
Did not know. That is awesome.
Yeah.
In Weston, U.S. News and World Report did its annual ranking of schools. Weston, one of the best in the nation. The New Faces of Weston Farm series continues with a story by Greg Menti. Approval of the budgets by voters there in Weston, and cleanup, and we've got a number of those going on this time of year.
All right, taking a look at the front page of the Ridgefield Press. Voters in Ridgefield rejecting $5 million in school cuts, and some cool photos of Ridgefield's Gone Country Festival. Beautiful photo of some art there, and of course some barbecue, which is of course a big part of any spring stroll. Very cool there. And then a reminder to not feed the bears, really. Some of the harm that could cause.
Be careful with that. They should have fed me. I saw all the trucks leaving. I was coming back on Route 7 from upstate New York, and all.
Yeah.
Well, they must have had a barbecue festival in Ridgefield. In Lewisboro, not far from Ridgefield, a federal monitor has recommended suing the town for having zoning policies that prevent racially integrated housing. You can see what Connecticut referred to as the Affordable Housing 830G debate possibly brewing its head there, and a $2.7 million bond for reconstruction of the Goldens Bridge Firehouse. That passed on Tuesday.
All right, we'll take a look at the Reading pilot. All budget items passing Tuesday's referendum. You don't often hear that. Usually something goes down.
Something.
So there you go. And the Region 9 school board moving toward a laptop for every student, which sounds great. Obviously could be very expensive, but they're working towards that. And stuck in jail for 6 days for a $35 fine. This is a story that appeared previously in the Ridgefield Press, but very interesting story by Tony Spinelli talking to a Ridgefielder who was detained for this small charge, and he kind of spoke out against it, which is unusual. You don't get that a lot.
If you haven't read it, it really is a wake-up call as to how a minor oversight can land you in a bunch of trouble.
All right. All right, John. Well, we're going to start wrapping things up. Those are all our front pages, but Yankee Fisherman's coming up at 1.
We are going to have Mike Bouchane from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. He's going to join us to talk about free fishing days. The first is coming up on Saturday. We're also going to take a look back at this weekend. I was up at the Catskill Fly Fishing Center and Museum helping some Trout Unlimited volunteers do a project and looking ahead at summer activities at the Catskill Center.
All right, and of course, HAN Arts and Leisure coming up at 2. And our game today, it just slipped my mind, is...
It's at Dairy and Lacrosse.
Yes, and that is at 4 o'clock? Yes. All right, so that's all coming up today. The rain's going to hold out today, which we're happy about. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but we'll see you for your coffee break tomorrow at 11.
Happy anniversary again.
Thank you. You too.